What's up, guys? Welcome back to our channel. Today we're doing a beanbag talk. We're sitting on our massive beanbag and giving you guys some tips and some stories as well. All right.
We're gonna be talking about traveling today. Travel tips.
Yeah.
So the do's and don'ts to traveling.
And you guys know we like to travel, so we figured we'd help you out.
I'm feeling you and I'm feeling this song. You make me wanna love you all night long. And I don't wanna come on too strong, but girl, you really got it going on. I'm feeling you and I'm feeling this song. You make me wanna love you all night long. I'm feeling you and I'm feeling this song. You make me wanna love you all night long. Love you all.
We'll start with packing. One of my tips for when you're packing is you should always pack a few extra things. Now, let me just tell you, we learned this lesson recently because we got stuck in on our last trip, which we will be posting a whole video about that trip specifically and all the vlogs from the trip as well. So I'm not even going to get into that, but it's always smart to pack like extra underwear, an extra bathing suit, an extra outfit, like one extra of everything.
Something else you want to do is plan your outfits before packing.
Yeah.
Packing is really overwhelming sometimes, so you want to make sure your outfits match. So definitely plan that before throwing them in the bag.
So my next tip is to pack neutral colored shoes. Now this really goes more for like girls. But I personally used to bring an entire luggage of just shoes. No joke. If I was going away for a week, I brought a whole luggage. My mom did the same thing.
Probably we didn't even wear all of them.
Exactly. Of just shoes. But if you pack neutral colored shoes, say you allow yourself for like a pair of flip-flops, a pair of flats, and a pair of heels. And then like I would normally wear sneakers on the plane, and especially if I need sneakers, but those are hard to pack because they're big. So if you stick with like white, black, and gray, or white, black, and like beige, stick with those colors because then you could pretty much wear any of those colors with any outfit. But if you pack something like red heels and then you have like a pink dress, you really can't wear those together. Yeah. Or if you pack like, I don't know, like blue flip-flops and none of your outfits are blue, it won't really go. So try to stick with neutral colored shoes, that way you can pack less and wear them with more.
You also want to know the regulations at the airport. When going through security, you want to make sure you have like travel-sized toiletries.
Yeah.
Usually around 3.4 ounces is the general number, so you want to stay under that because you don't want to end up at the airport and they confiscate your $80 bottle of like moisturizer that she uses or something.
like for him it doesn't really matter, and usually I'll just bring it because he'll use my stuff, but I have to use my things. Like I can't go to a hotel and use their shampoo and conditioner and face wash. Like I'll just be a mess. So I have to use like my expensive products. But if you don't have bottles that are travel size, go to the store and buy travel size bottles and put it in there because you don't want to get that stuff taken away because it really, really stinks. It's expensive.
And also don't forget to bring a travel toothbrush and then leave it there. And it's better to not travel with it because
it gets gross. Yeah, when you pack it and it's wet, it gets like moldy, and you don't ever want to put that back in your mouth.
They're only like $1 or less.
Get like a dollar store toothbrush and bring it to your trip. That way it's dry when you go there, and then you use it on your trip, and then you throw it out. Because if you use it and then you pack it and go home, it gets disgusting.
Yeah.
So I never bring my toothbrush home from vacation.
All right, let's move on to when flying or traveling. So let's say you're flying or going somewhere by train. During these hard times, you want to always make sure you have multiple masks on you.
Yeah.
And if you're, more insecure about this virus, definitely recommend getting the KN95 masks. They're definitely better than the cloth masks or just like the regular surgical masks.
Yeah.
So make sure you have your mask because you can get a fine if you don't have it, and they're gonna yell at you.
Yeah, and the first time the two of us traveled, like since COVID started, was probably back in November. It was like the first time we went on a plane, and we both wore KN95 masks because we were like really concerned about it. I mean, now we feel a little bit more comfortable, so we just wear like our regular surgical masks, which I mean I feel totally comfortable in. But KN95s are really great. So if you are concerned about it, definitely wear those, and always bring extra. Always, because you'll be surprised how many times you take it off and then you can misplace it if you're eating.
And they get dirty too.
And they get really dirty really fast. So like even throughout the day, I like to change mine because I feel like gross if I'm wearing it for too long.
Also bring hand sanitizer, bring extra bottles just in case you run out. And also bring some wipes, disinfecting wipes, so you can wipe down, like multi-touch surfaces. And even your hotel, when you get to your hotel,
Yeah.
just touch everything, even though it's clean, because sometimes they could be using the same rag they clean the toilet with as the light switches. So.
Yeah, we brought disinfectant spray too, so we could like spray the whole room and stuff on the last trip we went on. But yeah, as far as hand sanitizers go, if you are cautious about them taking them away, I packed like 5 bottles of small hand sanitizer for our trip.
Yeah.
Just to be safe. And we didn't end up finishing them, but we used like a decent amount. So don't just pack one, always pack extra. Another tip is not to use like your purse or your crossbody bag or whatever as your personal item. So what I did is I packed my Tory Burch backpack and then my like Marc Jacobs like pocketbook, like long crossbody purse, in my suitcase empty. That way I could use a big duffel as my carry-on to bring more stuff. So like my carry-on roll-on had the 2 bags that were like small because they had nothing in them in that, and then I brought my big duffel bag as my personal item, which really would be your backpack or your purse. But I could fit way more in it, and then when we were on vacation, I would use my little backpack and my purse to just bring around whatever I needed. So that's a really good trip, because then you also, because then you also have those extra bags too, and you don't have to limit that space.
Also, don't be that person that holds up the security line. Know what you're supposed to do when you get there, and wear the right outfit. Expect to take your shoes off, so don't wear shoes that are going to take an hour to take off and put back on.
Yeah.
Don't wear the most intricate and difficult outfit to remove and put back.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that person holding up the line when someone behind you's got a flight that they got to run for.
Also, if you have like belts and watches and all that stuff, it's easier to like take them off and like just hold them while you're waiting online, rather than doing all of that and trying to take your laptop out of your bag and take your shoes off and do all of those things at one time, because they're really, really pushing everyone to like go and get the line moving.
So with COVID, airlines aren't really giving out much items on the plane. We've been on some flights where they have given nothing, and then there's other airlines that have given you like pretzels and a bottled water in a bag. But I recommend eating before your flight, even before getting to the airport, so you can minimize the amount of times you have to remove your mask at the airports and on the plane. So definitely eat beforehand.
Yeah.
And also you want to buy water before the flight, because like I said, some of these airlines are not giving out any drinks. They stop the sale of all these things, so definitely get what you want before you get on the plane.
Yeah, can't stress that enough. Okay, now we're gonna talk about actual like travel tips, like when you're on vacation.
The fun stuff.
The fun stuff. This is the fun stuff. So one of the things that I would say is to plan out your days. Okay, plan them out. It will make you so much less stressed if you go into it not like, oh my god, we have to get this done, we have to try to figure out this, when are we going to go to this? Like, plan it out. Take the time to be like, okay, this day, this is where we're going to be, let's do this at this time, this at this time. Like, have leeway and give yourself time so that you're not rushing on a crazy schedule, because if you know me, I hate rushing to things, and if you know Jake, he's always rushing to things.
Yep.
So we bicker a little bit on that one, but it really helps to have a schedule. Like, we had things planned out, like, we're going to do this, and this today. And, like, you give yourself that leeway, but, like, that's your itinerary. And, like, you make sure you get to the things that you want to get to. Prioritize what you want to get to, too.
For sure, yeah. You don't want to go into things blind. You want to, like, scout out where you're going, the things around. Actually, even look at some restaurants and look at the reviews. You can make your reservations beforehand, which I highly recommend, because then you don't have to worry about, walking from restaurant to restaurant, not knowing if it's good food, good quality. And
or
then
if you're going to get a seat.
A nicer place, and now there's no seating, so you know what? You want to make your reservations beforehand.
Yeah.
And with excursions as well, reservations is key.
Yeah.
Call ahead.
Definitely book your excursions before you go, because those things book up really fast, especially with COVID, with limited capacity. It's definitely harder to get into things, especially with restaurants too, with things being limited capacity.
Yeah.
Another tip that I would give, and I think this is more on my side than on Jake's, because he's like, okay, we're there for 4 days, we're going to cram all these things into 4 days. I always want to plan an extra day. So if you want to go away for 4 days, if you can make this happen, make it 5 and give yourself 1 day where you don't plan it all out. That way you can use that time to do the things you came across that you didn't know about that you might want to do. Like, there's so many things that we saw, and I'm like, oh my god, I would love to have done that. Like, I wish we had more time to do this. I wish we had more time to do this. Like, I feel like we already have everything so planned that, like, there's no leeway. Like, it's really nice if you can give yourself that 1 extra day where it's like, okay, this is the day where if we want to just lay around on the beach and do nothing, we can. Or if we come across things that we didn't know about that we want to do, we have time to add that into our schedule.
Yeah. We like to travel, like, do multi-city vacations.
Yeah.
Just to get more out of what we're doing. So yeah, we definitely find ourselves like
Rushing.
overexerting ourselves and rushing sometimes. So an extra day to throw in there to help make the vacation feel a little bit more relaxed would definitely help.
Yeah, it's a big tip, and it's something I try to follow all the time. Jake's like, nope, 3 days is all we need, and I'm like, but we need 4. I'm telling you, we're gonna get there, and you're gonna agree, and it's gonna be harder to make us try to stay, and whatever. Give yourself the extra day. Prepare for unpredictable weather. This is so important. When we went to Miami in December, it was freezing, okay? You never would imagine going to southern Florida and needing, like, sweatshirt, sweatpants, jacket, like, all that stuff. We were ice cold. Like, it was the same temperature in Miami that it was in New York when we had left. It was the day after Christmas, and it was freezing for, like, it was only for 2 days, but you never know what's going to happen. Also, especially if you're traveling down south, they get rain all the time. So make sure, like, not even just clothing-wise, but, like, plan-wise, that you give yourself something where it's like, okay, this is something we could do on a day that it might rain, or if it's going to rain, or if it unpredictably rains that day, that you're not only booked and planned for outdoor things, because then it could end up upsetting.
And even if you do have an outdoor activity, like, bring a poncho.
Yeah.
I go to raves and I always have a poncho in my backpack.
Yeah, because then
just in case,
you can
because
still
I'm not
enjoy
leaving. I'm staying right there and listening to the music.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Also, another tip. This is more like before traveling. So when booking your flight or vacation, definitely look at multiple websites. Definitely compare your prices. Great tip that I do when I book airlines is I look at one-way flights. Because I live in New York, we have multiple airports that we can use, and sometimes it's cheaper to, fly out of one airport and then come home into a different airport. Definitely look at that and take that tip down, because it can save you, sometimes hundreds of dollars, because there's high demand for this one airport and maybe not for this airport on a different
Same
day.
thing with airlines too. Like, you could get a really cheap flight on American on the way there, but on the way home it could be like a $300 flight. But on the way home flying Delta could be $100. So it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
But same thing like what he was saying. You don't have to fly to the same airport. Like for us, I mean, we're lucky. We're relatively local to 3 airports. We have JFK and LaGuardia, and then we're really right. Well, yeah, we have a fourth,
which
Newark.
Is Jersey, but
it's
we haven't really
not
gone
as
there.
close, but it is doable if we wanted to. But then we also have Islip, which is only 10 minutes away from our house, which is really, really nice too. But we can't always go out of there, and sometimes it ends up being more expensive because it's a smaller airport.
Yeah.
So, but it's definitely good to look into that.
When you do look at round trip tickets, you're usually looking at it sections it as like one airline.
Yeah.
So if you look at that one way, you could fly down on one airline and fly back on a different airline, and it could be, cheaper than.
Which is actually what we just did
flying round
too.
trip.
It does sometimes turn out to be cheaper. So another travel tip is don't book something just based on the price. You should also look at the reviews. Definitely
They
look
help
at
a
the
lot.
reviews. Look at pictures of places and make sure it looks like a decent place. Not that pictures are always promising, because they're not. But if the picture doesn't even look promising, I could tell you something, especially with a hotel. Because normally hotels try to make their place look better than it is in pictures to get people to come. And there's a lot of times where I'm like, oh wow, that pool looked way nicer in pictures than it looks in person.
Plus,
but
pictures don't do the justice always. You're
Right.
not going to get the answer of how the service is, how the food is. So definitely the reviews will help you, because it's people who have already experienced what you want to do with that service or hotel you're going to stay at.
Yeah, so you really can't trust the pictures. But
Yeah.
going off of pictures, if they don't look promising, it's probably even worse in person. That's just a personal experience. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely look at the reviews. We're big reviews people.
Yeah.
We read reviews on everything before spending money on
Food,
it. Yeah,
hotels,
literally everything. So
Flights, I don't really look at reviews. I don't
no,
honestly care which
if you
airline
trust
I'm
an
flying.
airline, I mean, I wouldn't fly Spirit, but like,
Hey, I'd fly them.
if you trust an airline, you don't have to really worry about that. No, I won't fly Spirit. I'll fly Frontier.
Well,
but
if
I
we were
won't
flying
fly
to
Spirit.
Nashville, we'd be flying Spirit.
I'll drive.
I already looked.
All right, so that's it for all of our tips for traveling. If you want to hear a travel story from us, our next vlogs coming out are actually going to be our spring break vacation. So excited to share that with you guys. And then once you watch those, or if you've seen any of our social medias, you will know that we had a little bit of a struggle on our trip of something that happened. But we decided not to share that in the vlog, and we're going to post a story time about what really happened because we wanted to keep the vlogs of the actual trip about the vacation and about all the fun and the great things that we got to do. We didn't want to bring any sort of like negativity into that. So we are going to post our trip as probably 2 to 3 vlogs because we got a lot of content. And then after that, we will be releasing a story time for all of those of you that have been asking what happened. And
Yeah.
we will get to that. It happened towards the end of our trip. We're fine. We're happy. Everything's great. But we do have a big story to tell you guys, so we will share that with you after all of the footage has been released.
Super exciting. So stay tuned for the next coming weeks, and you're going to see some clips of us traveling to Key West and Miami.
Right. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on those post notifications, and we'll catch you next time.
I can't
You were
reach.
supposed to do it, because neither
Okay.
can I.
Yeah, I couldn't reach.
Whoosh!